We've seen a lot of unhinged speeches at this year's Tory party conference. Not looking to be left out, Leader of the House, Penny Mordaunt, closed hers with this.
Stand up and fight for the freedoms we have won. Against socialism, whether it is made of velvet or iron. Have courage and conviction, because when you do, you move our countrymen, our communities and capital of all kinds to our cause. Stand up and fight, because when you stand up and fight, the person beside you stands up and fights. And when our party stands up and fights, the nation stands up and fights. And when our nation stands up and fights, other nations stand up and fight. And they stand up and fight for the things upon which the entire progress of humanity depends. Freedom. That is what conservatives do. That is what this nation does. Have courage. Bring hope. Stand up and fight. Stand up and fight. Thank you, conference.
It's given 4 pints of lager and way too much cocaine. Dahlia, what did you make of that? So she said fight a hell of a lot of times. I feel like that was a bit of a subliminal. Well, it wasn't subliminal, was it? I was kind of scared watching that.
It's like if you bought Braveheart on AliExpress. It's like a pound shop kind of like rallying cry. I don't know what velvet socialism is. I guess it's like, is that the same as champagne socialism? I prefer champagne personally. I always find it so absurd when Tories, especially this iteration of the Conservative Party, stand up and talk about fighting for freedom and liberty and all of this when they are the most authoritarian government we have had in recent years. You know, whether it's about voter ID laws, which, as we know, massively compromises the ability of working class people, of, you know, people of color to vote, or whether it's the policing bill, which goes for some of our most central democratic principles, like the right to strike or the right to protest. These are all part of this Conservative Party's agenda. They've gone for every civil liberty that they can get their hands on, and yet they stand up and talk about fighting for freedom. You are at no place to talk about any meaningful conception of freedom, because you have attacked all of the most meaningful freedoms that we have. The only freedoms you care about enabling is the freedom to abuse minorities. That's literally the only freedom that you actually have enabled and facilitated. All of the meaningful freedoms that actually keep us going as a democratic society, you have tried to attack. So you really have no business, Penny Mordaunt, talking about fighting for freedom. That is not your domain as conservatives.